Please confirm you can hear me.
I hear you, ma'am.
All right, it's good to have you all on the call. Okay, so we'll just dive into the third session of today's class, and we will be taking business analysis, and the topic is defining solutions. Our trainer will be taking us is none other than Ijeoma Mercy. Mercy Vincent is a technology professional with a background in software development and business technology solutions, and has a passion for helping organizations solve business problems through effective use of technology and structured analysis. Over the years, Mercy has worked on a variety of digital transformation projects and business process solutions. Her experience has given her a practical understanding of how business needs are translated into technology solutions that deliver great value. She believes that great business analysis begins with asking the right questions, understanding the real business problem, and defining solutions that align with organizational goals. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clapping of hands in the chat room, let's welcome our trainer in the person of Ijeoma Mercy. Mercy, if you can hear me, can take it off from here.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. So today I'm going to be looking at one of the important responsibilities of business analysis, which is defining the solution. Okay, let me quickly share my screen. Please confirm if you can see my screen, everyone. Please confirm if you can see my screen. So today we're going to be looking at we're going to be looking at an important aspect, which is defining the solution. So we all know that before an organization decides to build a new system or change a process or introduce a new way of working in their organization, there's someone who needs to first understand what problem they are actually trying to solve. And that is where a business analyst comes in. So a business analyst is someone who helps identify what is currently happening in the organization and also what should happen in the future, and then also the processes that needs to be changed to get there. So throughout these sessions, we are going to focus on how analysts understand problems, how they identify gaps, and help define solutions that can actually work for a business. Today's session is built around two main ideas, two pillars, which is analyzing the gap and aligning to the business architecture. So the first one we're going to be looking at is analyzing the gap. We know that whenever there is a business problem, there's usually a difference between where the business is today and also where it wants to be. For example, maybe in an organization where customers currently wait for days for a service to be delivered, but then the organization wants that process to be completed within a day. The difference between those two situations is the gap. So we need to understand the gap, where they are currently and what they want to become in the future. The second pillar is aligning the solution with the business architecture. And we know that a solution may solve a problem, but also we need to know if the solution supports the organization's bigger goal. Can you see my screen now, just to confirm? Can you see my screen now, just to confirm? Please, I would like to say thumbs up if everyone can see my screen.
Yes, please.
Hello.
It's off and on. It's on now.
So these two areas we're going to talk about are very important, and I'm going to be walking you through on how to operate with them in business analysis. And by the end of this session, there are also two things that I want you to take away. First, you should understand what gap analysis is and how we can use the POPIT model to look at a problem from different angles. So during the course of this session, I would explain the POPIT model. Secondly, we should understand why solutions need to align with business architecture. Because the important thing to remember is that business analysis is not finding a solution quickly. It is finding the right solution and the right one that solves the actual business problem. The right solution that solves the actual business problem. So let's start with one of the most important concepts in business analysis, which is gap analysis. So in a simple term, I would say gap analysis helps us understand the difference between where we are now and where we want to be. I'd like you to think of a time you planned a journey, and if you know your destination but you don't know your current location, it will be difficult for you to know the steps required to get to your destination. And this thing also happens in business. That's why we need to understand our current situation and also know the desired future situation. And then also we need to know what is preventing us from getting to our setting goal. For example, also imagine a company who wants to improve customers' services, and they currently have a problem whereby customers wait for several days for responses, and also employees handle things manually. So we understand that their future goal will be customers receiving faster responses and also processes being automated in the organization. So gap analysis helps us understand what we need to change in the organization to solve the problem, the business problem. This is also a tool that helps us describe the desired future state in the business activity model, and also it gives us a high-level picture of what the future business system should look like. And then as you carry out gap analysis, we also think of 3 simple steps in carrying out gap analysis. And the first step is to identify the difference between the current state and the future state of the organization. Second step is to structure our thinking using POPIT model. And this model is important because because the business problems are really caused by several factors, and POPIT model helps us go through each of the factors of that causes business problems. And then sometimes it could be technology, sometimes it could be the processes being used, sometimes it could be people, and also it could be the organization itself. That's why we need to apply POPIT model. And then finally, we need to understand the gap. Then we can then go ahead to think about the possible solution. So if you understand the order, you could see that I started from we identifying the problem, and then we didn't just start from finding the solution immediately. We had to first start by understanding the business problem before we can go ahead to finding the solution to solve the problem. So we are going to look at the key tools in today's session, which is the POPIT model. And the POPIT model gives business analysts 4 different ways to look at a business problem: the people, the organization, the processes, and the information and technology. So we need to look at the people because it focuses on the individuals itself. And in that area whereby we're looking at the people, we'll have to understand and know, do these people have the right skills? Because not having the right skills could also be a problem. And then also you have to understand, do they need training? Are their roles are their roles being clearly understood? And then these questions can also help us to structure our thinking. We also look at the organization and then how the business itself operates, like things like the business structure, the business culture, the leadership, and the decision making. We also need to look at the processes, and in this area, we'll look at how work is being done in the organization. We'll check if there are unnecessary steps being taken. We'll check if processes are efficient, and where delays are currently happening. Then we'll move into information and technology. And in this area, we would focus on the systems, the tools, and information. Why we're focusing on this, we would ask ourselves questions to know if the system supports the business, if the system being used in the organization supports the business, and if it is using the right information available. So the reason for using pure PIT model is useful because it prevents us from looking at only one part of a problem. We have to look at these various factors to have a clear understanding of the business problem. For example, if a process is slow, the solution may not actually be to change to a new process. It could be that we need proper training, approvals, or it could be the way the organization works. That's why we need to also work with the POPIT model to understand these factors properly. Before I proceed, I would like everyone to quickly go into the chat board and then drop one example of something that can fall under organization part of POPIT. To drop example of something that falls under the organization part of POPIT as opposed to the processes. I will be checking it. So we understand that in the organization side, as I said previously, the company structure could also be a factor, the culture, the management style, also the decision making can also be a factor, and it falls under the organization side. Okay, now let's look at how these 4 areas work together. The processes, the organization, the people, the information, and technology. Usually, a business analyst starts by looking at the processes because that is where many problems become visible. Because, for example, if customers, as I said, they complain about their services being slow, and then we investigate, we may discover that the process may have too many approval steps, or it could be that we could also discover that the employees are not properly trained, and it could also be that the organization structure could slow the decision, or the existing systems do not support the processes. So with this, it has shown us that we cannot look at only one area. And then also, we also move into the organization, and it is often it is often an area that people might usually forget to look into the organization, because a company can introduce a new skill, a good system, but the organization culture and the working method might affect and also make the processes to fail. And next is the people. We also need to consider whether the employees have the right skills, and then also if they're properly trained, if they need proper training for the problem to be solved. And next is the information and technology. When looking at this factor, we need to understand what systems and data are being required to support the future way of working, what is required to move the business from where it is to where it is supposed to be in the future. After analyzing the gap, the next step we need to take is defining the business requirements. And the requirement is a very important aspect to define the business requirement. And in this side, it makes us to understand what the business needs. And a common mistake that is usually made is when people often fail to define their business requirements properly, and they just jump into the solution before defining the business requirements. A company can just conclude that they need to change a particular equipment or a particular solution. Meanwhile, what could be the solution to that problem could be that to first understand what you actually need, not just changing it. It could be that we need more information to be able to work with the process to get to our solution. Okay, now we've understood how to analyze problem with using the POPIT model. So let's talk about the business architecture. And the business architecture helps us connect business strategy with the execution. So I would say we should think about this like when a company may have a goal. Like, for example, they want to improve their customer experience. As I'll use the same example, they want to improve their customer experience, but the business architecture should help translate the goal to get the required capabilities to achieve that, to get the processes, the customer's journey, and also the supporting system that could help to solve that, to achieve that goal. And also this architecture can help us to ensure that the solution we create are not just fixing today's issue, they're not just fixing the particular problem we have currently, but also when we have a structured architecture, it could help the organization to fix both today and then future, and for the future. That's to help them work in the right direction, so that even in the future, that same solution would be useful. So there are also techniques used in business architecture. And today we're going to focus on the business capability model and the value stream analysis. The business capability model is what the organization needs to be able to do what they want to be able to achieve what they want to achieve in the future. So it describes an organization. It describes something an organization must be able to do in order to achieve what they are planning to achieve. It could be capabilities like managing their customers properly. It could be capabilities like managing risks properly in the organization. And the second one we were talking about is value stream analysis. And it looks at the journey of delivering value to the customer. And in this technique, it's more like we are focusing on delivering our value to our customers. And an example I would use is a retail bank. A retail bank who wants to improve their customers' onboarding process. So using the POPIT analysis, they analyze the gap and then determine if the problem is from the people, the organization, the processes, the information and technology. Like for example, currently, if their customers are complaining about delays and they want to automate processes, the bank the bank can want a faster onboarding or a less manual work so as to get a better customer experience. So as an analyst, we need to first understand the current and the future state using the POPIT model, which is the people, the organization, the processes, the information and technology. Check the people, know if do the employees need training, we'll know if they need to be more enlightened, if they need to understand their job requirements properly, and then also the organization, if they need to, if there are approved structures, if there are structures that are slowing down the business growth, and then the processes, understand which steps are causing the delay. You know, okay, what is causing the delay of the business growth. And then we also understand the information and technology. We know, do these systems support the new process? We'll ask questions like that to understand it properly. The systems that are existing in the organization, are they in support of the new processes that are being used? And also, by doing this, from this gap, we're able to understand the business requirements. We're able to understand what is stopping the business from attaining what they want to attain, and then we're able to know the solution on how to move the business to where it wants to be. So I would also want to ask a question also. Can anyone still hear me? I want to confirm if you can still hear me, please.
Yes, we can hear you, madam.
We can hear you, ma.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear from here.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I also want to ask if there are questions from anyone before I can proceed to the next step. Is there any question from anyone? Any question so far? Okay, I'll take that as no question. I'll take that as no question. So I'll bring everything together again. What I've said so far, I'll put it together in a simple word. For us to be able to for you to be a good business analyst, first you need to understand the current state and then the future state. As I said previously, if you want to go on a trip and you know your destination, but you don't know your current location, it will be difficult for you to be able to get to your destination, because it will be difficult for you to be able to know the steps and the approaches for you to get to your destination. Because for you to get to that destination, you need to know where you are currently, and then you need to also know your destination. With that, you're able to analyze the gap, and then you know what is creating that gap and how can the gap be closed to get to that destination. So that's it. That also works in business. When a business is slowing down, or there are some problems in a business, for us to be able to achieve that, we don't just conclude on a solution. We understand what is currently happening and what is causing that problem, and then after we understand what's currently happening, we then understand what are the causes, that's the gap, where are we now, and what do we want to achieve, and what is stopping us from achieving what we want to achieve. That is basically gap analysis, analyzing the gap between where the business is currently and what the business wants to achieve in the future. And then also the cause, the what is causing the business from not getting to where it wants to get. And for us to know the causes of the causes, we need to go through the POPIT model, which is very important in gap analysis. We'll check the people, check the organization, check the processes, the information, and also we'll check the technology. So when we talk about checking the people, we'll check the employees. What is happening? Are they working properly, and then why are they not working properly? Could it be that they need more training? Could it be that they need more hands? Could it mean that they need to be enlightened, or they need to be aware of what they are supposed to do? And then also, could it be that the awareness is not good enough? They need more awareness for them to be able to understand what they are supposed to do to move the business forward. And then also, we need to also check the organization. The organization is not something we need to just keep, because it could also be a factor. Could also be a factor. The organization could also because could be that the rules and regulations used are affecting the processes. Could be the decision making are also affecting the organization. It could be that the organization is not being structured properly, and that is now causing the business is causing the business problem. And then after looking at the people, the organization, they will check the processes, check what are being done in this organization, and check if these processes, the process could be right, but they might not be the right process to be used in the particular organization, because a banking and finance organization could use a different process with an education based organization. So it could be a right process, but we'll check, does it align with this business need? Does it align with does it align with what we want to achieve? We could be aiming on achieving something, and then the process could be leading us to achieving another thing. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that the process is a wrong process, but it could just be that it is wrong for that organization. That's why it is a very major factor to check. And then after we look at the processes, we also check the information and the technology that are being used in the organization. We check if they are using the right systems, check if the technology used are the right one for that organization, check if some things that needs to be automated are still being done manually and all. So it is a very important factor to check while performing a gap analysis. And then also we move into the business architecture, which is also, as I said, it is also a major factor in business analysis, because a wrong business architecture could also affect us in solving a problem. It could also affect why doing our gap analysis. So we need to understand the business architecture if it's being structured properly. We need to, and the business architecture can, if the organization is using a wrong architecture for the organization, it could not be, as I said, it could not be a wrong architecture per se, but it could be wrong for that particular organization. That's why, as a business analyst, when doing business analysis, we need to understand our clients and then understand what they want, where they want their business to go to. And with that, we'll be able to determine the kind of business architecture that will be used, that will be good for the organization. Because a good architecture in a wrong organization can also be a big problem. So, and also it could also be a big problem. So it has to be balanced, the right architecture for the right organization. And then also we check the business requirements. We check the business requirements, and then we'll know if what is required, what the organization has currently is enough, is a proper requirement for that business. And all this also linked to the business architecture. The business requirement is also important. We need to know what the organization is lacking, and what are unnecessary, because you could have a requirement that might be unnecessary for your organization. You could have a requirement that could be useful in some other organization, but because of your target goal, it could not be useful for you. So the business architecture is also a major factor that needs to be focused on for business growth. It's the business requirement. And then so we might not really understand the right requirements to do. That is why based on where you want to be, based on what you want for the organization, you'll be able to determine the requirements that you need. That's why it is also important, as I said previously, that you should know where you are and what you want to be. And once you're able to determine these two things, where you are now and where you want to be, once you're able to determine these two things, it will be easy to do the others, the architecture, the requirement, the analysis. Once you know your destination, you're able to know the kind of requirements that will be needed for the organization. And without knowing that, it could affect various various aspects and also cause a business problem. We have the pure price analysis. We have the business architecture model, which is identify the problem areas, the business analysis model, and then also the architecture check to check if the requirements are valid for the business architecture, if the requirements are leading to the business, to the destination for that business, if the requirements are not unnecessary, if there are not unnecessary processes or unnecessary steps taken in the organization. No, if the requirements are not few, or if the requirements are enough, if the requirements are enough for the business, because it could also be that an organization could have a good requirement, but there might still be some other requirements that would be needed for the growth of the organization. So with the requirement check, you know if the business requirement is if the business requirement is enough, if it's what the business requirement they are using now is okay, is what they need to do, or if there are more requirements needed for the organization. And then also we need to also specify we need to also when doing the analysis also, we need to also define the and specify the architecture and the requirements clearly, because the architecture and the requirements need to be specified clearly also, which is also a major aspect, need to be specified clearly for the analysis to be done properly. It needs to be clear and also testable requirements. So I want to also ask a question now. I want us to go to the chat boards. Based on what I've said now, I want us to go to the chat boards, and then someone should drop the I want everyone to tell me the factors, the POPIT model. What does it stand for? The POPIT model. I want someone to tell me what the POPIT model. Just explain the POPIT model. I'm checking on the chat board, or if you can unmute your mic. Yeah, that could also be okay. Explain the POPIT model. Explain what you understand by what you understand.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. The POPIT model is a business analysis strategy to use 4 steps approaches to identify problems in a business. It focuses on the 4 main steps focuses on people, organization, processes, and information and technology. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, and that is very correct. That is very correct. Thank you so much for that. So you're raising your hand, Nike. Nike, you are raising your hand. I don't know if you have something to say. You can unmute your mic to talk.
Okay, so good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted, if it's possible for us to have a practical example so that you can drive home this point, and also are there tools like AI tools that can help us? Maybe we'll just pick a sector of an organization and then identify the problem. Just walk through everything you said so that I can resonate better with everything you said. Thank you.
Please, please, can you come again? Please, can you come again? At some point, you are breaking, and it was not clear enough.
Okay, okay, can you hear me? I'm
Yes,
just
I
saying
can.
thank you for the lecture, but I'm saying for me personally, I'd like that we can, if it is possible on this call for us to practicalize all we're saying, maybe pick an organization, a sector, and then identify the problems, you know, try and just use this gap analysis and all the topics you've talked about so that we can drive home this point and it can resonate better for application purposes. Thank you. And I'm also asking, are there AI tools that can help us to, resolve issues like this that you can recommend? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So a key example I would use is an organization whereby I use a banking and finance. For example, our banks. Some customers do complain about slow network. Before OPay came in or before fast network came in, we do usually complain about slow network in our bank, and it was a difficult challenge because whenever you're having an issue, you would have to go to the bank to fix that problem, and it was not convenient for a lot of customers. That was a big challenge. So for us to analyze this and to close this gap, as an analyst, you will understand what is currently happening, which is slow delay of responses. Delay of responses is probably when you reach out to the customer care, they are not answering you properly. That is a problem. That is where we are now. And then where we want to be is we want fast responses. We want whenever a customer wants to know his, say he wants to know his transaction history. The customer should be able to get this without going to the bank to get your slip for your transaction history. So that is where we are and where we want to be. So for us to analyze this gap now, so for us to analyze this gap using the POPIT model, we'll check the people, and then we'll check the people, the employees. First of all, we'll check, are they responding to those customers immediately when they reach out to them, when they reach out, are they responding to them immediately, or are they not responding to them immediately? And then also, when after responding to them, are they being able to answer the questions that are being asked by the customer? Are they being able to solve the problem, or do the customers still need to come to the bank to talk to the customer care even after discussing to the people? Understand, are they being able to attend to them properly without them moving over? That's the people. And then do we need to train our staffs more on this, so that we don't really have a lot of people coming to the bank to avoid crowd? Do you have to train them and then enlighten them on how to on the steps needed for various customer problems or various needs that are being demanded by customers, the steps needed for them to take to be able to attend to those customers via phone call or messaging. And then also look into the organization. We check, is the organization properly structured for that? Are they properly structured for online banking? Are they structured for online communication? Or because if they are not well structured, it could also affect. And at this point, you will not blame the people, you won't blame the either the staffs or the customers, because the customers are, you can also categorize them. We will not blame the two if the organization is not structured for online communication or online banking. And then also we check the processes that are being, we'll check before moving to the process, we'll check the organization, their if it's being structured for that. Check if there are some things being done in the organization that is affecting this, that's causing this problem, making the customers still having to move to the bank to lay a complaint about their account on all. And then also move into the processes. What processes are being made in this organization? Are they having what processes are being made? Are they having the right process are they using the right process that they could make communication easy for the staffs to the customers, for are they using the right processes for the staffs to be able to easily communicate to the customers? And then also, is it possible, the processes that is the processes they have right now, is it possible for us to use that process to be able to solve the customer's need? Because if things are being manually done in an organization, there are a lot of things that will not be able to be done online. If the customer's details, for example, customer's details are manually done, they are not, they are manually stored, they are not, the informations are not being automated. When you want to get a customer's data, you need to still do some manual check, or you still need to, they still need to do thumb printing, for example. They still need to thumb print for them to be able to confirm it is the account, and then before you can proceed to attending to them. So these processes could also affect, because a customer will have to move to the office in order to thumb print, for you to do his thumb printing, for he or she to be able to continue with the complaint. So that could also affect. And then also we need to check their information and technology. The technology that are being used in the organization, is there a mobile app that could help things move faster? Do we have a mobile app? And if we have a mobile app, we could even ask them to do their thumb printing online. If it's possible, we could ask them to do that online. The technology that we have, do we have the mobile app we have currently? Even if we have the mobile app we have currently, is it stable enough to be able to attend to 1,000 or 1,000,000 complaints at the same time? Is it able to? Are we able to have a lot of users use that app at the same time? So the technology that is also a part of a technology. The information, the technology, are things being automated, or are they still being done manually? So these things could also affect the business. These things could also affect the business growth. It could also be a problem. I'll put it that way. It could also be a problem. And when we check all this, and then we're able to understand the solution to this. We're able to understand we need to do this, we need to implement this into our system, we need to remove these unnecessary things that are already outdated. We need to remove it. We need to bring in some other processes, some other technology, some other processes that could help this, that would help this to be done fast, and it could solve this problem. So once we are able to understand that, get the problem, and be able to do the gap analysis. And then also, you should not forget we'll also check the business economy, as I said, and then check some other factors with that to be able to understand and know how to solve this particular problem. So are you did I explain this properly to you, Nike? Hello, Nike, are you with me?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Basically optimizing the process. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're
Yes, I'm
welcome.
with you.
You're welcome.
Hello,
You're
can you hear
welcome.
me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. So is there any other question from anyone? Any other question?
Yes, I raised my hand.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm trying to see beyond just input from the business analyst. I'm trying to see how do we overcome the issue of corporate governance. You understand the essence of those directors or the owners of company that form the culture of the organization or the business architecture of the organization. At times, okay, outside the input into the system and output by technology, there's equally a problem of influence if governance is not properly guided. What do I mean by that? An issue where if we are looking beyond just product and services, we are looking at the performance of an organization. A situation where bottom line, the structure looks poor, is not making profit or thereabout, and management for them to sign it out, the business analyst might be let me say, if it's not properly guided, he will now be pushed, or he might not carry some information, some data, whereby it will now be put across to the board or to the board that it is personnel cost that is causing this failure. And you go ahead to trim that or to do rationalization. Meanwhile, a regulatory agency comes again to check. The regulatory agency will come out with another report that it is governance, insider loan. So what am I trying to say? I said, is there any way we can have a meeting point between the business analysis report and the regulatory organization, like what NDIC will come and check, or what any of the regulatory agency that is overseeing the functions on business of that type of business? Is there any way they can have a meeting point to now mirror their report? Yes, what this guy says is in line with this. Because I don't see a problem where there will be penalty for poor reporting here, that another person will come and confirm the actual thing is insider loan, so thing. I just want to see how you can bring out, crack this very area for me to understand very well, if it falls under this our scope of study.
Okay.
Are you? Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you. Thank you so much,
All right.
Mr. Bello, for this. Okay, so when doing your business analysis, you also need to be careful. You need to make sure that you are working with the correct information. You need to make sure that what you are working with is actually the right one for the organization, because the moment you don't work with the right information that aligns with the organization need, that aligns with their needs, it could also affect your analysis, and then it becomes a poor analysis. So that's why when analyzing, you need to make sure you have a proper information, and then when everything is being documented and all, I don't think you should um you should have an issue with not giving a proper analysis, because if everything is well documented, there is proof, everything is it's documented properly, and everyone is seeing it opened, they have the organization has their documents, and then you also everything is well documented while you are doing your analysis. I don't think there should be an issue with you performing a poor analysis, as long as you used the right information, you're working with the correct requirements of the organization, you're working with it's exactly what is being needed by the organization. You're working with exactly what they have, and then you're also working towards what it's being needed for the organization. So that's it. So I don't think you should have an issue if everything is well documented. So as when you're doing your analysis, you make sure everything is being documented well. It is you have a structured document of your analysis for the organization, and then also you're working hand in hand with the organization. Make sure that you understand the proper architecture that is being used in the organization. You make sure you understand the proper requirements that are needed, and you are working exactly with it. You're working exactly with what the organization needs. So I don't really want to go much into this because my time is already over and I have just a few minutes left. So, and I also want to create room for other questions. So is there any other person that has a question? Is there any question from another person?
Sorry, Ma, you didn't answer my second part around AI tools.
Okay, I didn't get to
for
about
business
around.
analysis.
I didn't hear you.
I was asking, are there AI tools that one can use for business analysis? Can you recommend?
AI tools to use for business analysis.
Yes,
yes,
are there?
yes, there are a lot of AI tools. There are AI tools you can use to do your analysis, depending on the analysis that you are working on, and depending on the business, on the type of business you are working on. So before you can venture into using an AI tool, you should understand the kind of business you're working on. Yeah, there are a lot of AI tools depending on what you want to do. If you want to create documents, you could use Gemini, you could use Power BI Copilot. There are a lot of AI tools you can use for your business analysis. So you can also use Microsoft Copilot and all, depending on the particular document or the particular analysis that you are working on. So did I answer that? You can use Power BI Copilot for business intelligence. You can use Microsoft Copilot. Can use other Copilots. Can use Gemini for. Can also use ChatGPT, depending on the kind of analysis that you're working on. Mr. Rick, you have a question, but my time is already up. So I'm sorry, I can't attend to that now. But it's already time. So thank you.
It's not a question. It's not a
Sorry,
question.
sorry.
Go.
Miss Mercy, I believe we could just answer the question. I know the time is up. Let's just give a few minutes to entertain the question, so have a better understanding of what what we have learned today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. You can go ahead.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Demola. Okay, mine will be like a contribution, but hearing the previous question that was asked by one of the participants regarding the role of a business analyst or analysis and dealing with corporate governance. I think if the person is still on the call, I just want to make just add up some maybe after hearing his question, I was listening to it, and then the facilitators contribution or answers to that question. May I please kindly add maybe one or two comments that could help? Would that be fine, please?
Yes, you
Yes.
can. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So in dealing with business analysis, we are all aware that there's always two as is regarding this. The center line here is compliance, whether as governors, corporate governors, because as a business analyst, whatever you do, there is always a corporate governance deciding, oh, even if your reporting and analysis are okay, they try to override it. The key word there, which is the tie for me, is the compliance. Whether they are complying with external stakeholders or internal stakeholders. I give this as an example. I worked several years ago with an institution where, as much as we do communiques and come up with compliances, and as it is of the organization and where we want to be, there is always, I can tell you for free, that for the past 10 to 14, 15 years 14 years that I was there, all our communiques and all our to-bes have never been implemented for once. There is always a corporate governance that comes up with decisions. Okay, this is the way we want to go. But then I keep asking myself, how do we get things right here? So my consideration and my thought would be that, okay, in terms of dealing with where a business analyst takes or profiles solutions to crisis or to current, or in dealing with the gap that exists between the as it is and to be, the role of corporate governance can only be limited where there is a compliance rules ensuring that, okay, look, what I've done it based on regulations, based on all the preliminaries and all the things that are required. So it is actually a challenge. I think for me it's a challenge because I have an experience based on that area where the corporate governance tries to overrule what what we call what the business analysis does, but where it is a little bit where he has a free hand and the corporate governance understand the role of a business analyst, I think that organization will go a long way, because the role of a business analyst encompasses a lot. He does not do things on his own. He's guided by principles, by rules, and also by boundaries. This will be my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this contribution. And I'd like to also thank everyone for participating. I would like to thank everyone for listening and also for being a part of this session. Thank you so much for the time and for participating. I'll hand over
Thank you
now.
very much. Sorry for cutting you. Thank you very much. We really appreciate the session. And Mr. Godwin, gracias. Please let everyone here do a big shout out to our trainer for this amazing session, so we can proceed to our next session, which is going to be our last session for today. And we'll be moving to product management. And we have our amiable and distinguished trainer with us. Please give me a minute while I share my. No,